Oppenheimer. However you want to say the name, it was still one of my most highly anticipated films coming into 2023. And even though we kept seeing movies flop and flop at the box office, I still had hope for this one. I mean, Christopher Nolan's directing it. It's got a star-studded cast, including Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, and many more. Shot in IMAX. I mean, this film has the recipe for success to be an amazing experience. It can't go wrong, right? Well, I'm happy to announce that it lived up to the hype. Nolan, my man, you've done it again. Oppenheimer is an incredible experience, full of amazing cinematography, incredible performances, great set pieces, all of which results in a film that I would almost call a masterpiece. Almost. The movie follows J. Robert Oppenheimer as he heads the impossible task of creating the first ever atomic bomb. And in typical Nolan fashion, this movie is not chronological. It constantly jumps between the past and the present. I'm pretty sure he has it in his contract that he must be allowed to do non-chronological movies, because that just seems to be his thing now. Not only does it switch between time periods, but it also switches between perspectives, with some of the film being Oppenheimer's point of view and others being the historical point of view. Which I believe is signified by the colors and the black and white, which I thought was really cool. Throughout the movie, we see the switching between a hearing meant to revoke Oppenheimer's security clearance and tarnish his reputation, and jumping back to the past to see his journey to creating the atomic bomb. Even though the movie doesn't go in chronological order, I think it makes the most sense for our summary here to be chronological. But anyway, the chronological plot goes like this. Oppenheimer finishes his PhD in physics overseas and heads back to America in hopes of bringing quantum physics with him. Quantum physics isn't as big in America. He hopes to kind of jumpstart that, make it big like it is in Europe. He's successful and starts a quantum physics program at the University of California, Berkeley. During his time there, he has brief run-ins with the Communist Party, never joins but is intrigued by their ideas. His brother does join, though. And at one of these meetings, he meets Jean Tatlock, a member of the party, and begins an on-and-off relationship with her. After having enough with that, he breaks up with her and meets and marries his wife, Kitty. Fast forward a little bit, it's wartime, during which Army General Leslie Groves tasks Oppenheimer to head the Manhattan Project, the project creating the atomic bomb. Then we get a little recruitment montage with Oppenheimer and Groves going throughout America to recruit the best minds to join the project and move them and their families down to Los Alamos, New Mexico to get to work. I'm not going to go into what all went down at Los Alamos, but after many years of hard work, it was time to test the atomic bomb. In one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a movie theater, we see the bomb tested, and man, it's an incredibly terrifying experience. It gives you mixed feelings because you're terrified by what you're seeing, the sheer power of this thing. But at the same time, it's so incredible to watch. Like, Nolan does a fantastic job at capturing this. It's just an incredible sequence, and if not just for this scene, I would encourage you to watch this film on the biggest screen possible. After the bomb is detonated, the project is deemed a success, and 2 bombs are sent off to the US military. Fast forward just a little bit more, and we see Oppenheimer struggling with guilt over the bombings in Japan. And I think the film does a really good job portraying this, especially during the rally scene after the bombings. I mean, that was a really good job portraying what he was feeling, what he was going through. But he's feeling that guilt and starts advocating for the restraint of developing even more powerful weapons, like a hydrogen bomb, which makes some people who helped him with the atomic bomb pretty mad. Then we jump to the present and see that Oppenheimer is revoked of his security clearance because of his former relationships with communists such as Jean and his brother Frank. There's a lot more here that I won't get into, but I don't want to get into too many spoilers. But that kind of asks the question, is anything in history considered a spoiler? But the movie leaves us thinking about the chain reaction the creation of the atomic bomb might have caused. And it was a terrifying way to end the film, but it really left you thinking. This was an incredible experience in the cinema. And again, I would highly encourage you to see this on the biggest screen possible. I think you'll thank me later. Look, the cinematography is incredible. The way that the camera is used in this film is just spot on. And I love the little shots of maybe atoms moving and explosions, pictures of destruction that they show throughout the movie to kind of give us a little glimpse inside of Oppenheimer's mind. I thought that was really cool. I mean, the cast for this film is amazing. I think we all knew that going into this thing. Throughout the movie, though, I was almost playing like, where's the next famous actor? Because there seemed to be a big name showing up in almost every single scene, just kind of out of nowhere. But on top of all the big names in this movie, they all give incredible performances. I mean, obvious ones stick out. I mean, Cillian Murphy absolutely kills it as Oppenheimer. I mean, the hard work and the dedication this dude put in absolutely paid off. And I guarantee you he's going to get a crap ton of awards and nominations because of this. Dude went all out. Matt Damon and Robert Downey Jr., even with limited screen time, were fantastic. I'm also pretty sure Downey will get some sort of award for this performance. Emily Blunt, pretty sure she's going to get an award as Kitty. I mean, she did an amazing job as well. There's so many more actors and actresses that I could talk about here, but I don't want to make this a 30 minute long video. So I'm just going to say overall, the cast gave an incredible performance. Truly incredible. I know a lot of people had a problem with the non-chronological story that Oppenheimer tells, but I was actually a really big fan of it. I think it gave interesting insight into Oppenheimer's trial. And to me, it kept me engaged in the story. I thought it was done pretty well, but I understand why a couple people wouldn't like that or thought it was overcomplicating the story a little too much. I totally get that, but I think it's fine here. I really enjoyed that though. Look, this film is fantastic, but it's not perfect. A couple problems do stick out. One is like the classic Nolan trope of making things a little too intelligent or trying to overcomplicate things that really don't need to be. Again, some may point to the non-chronological order of the story, but I think it's really more noticeable in the dialogue. I totally understand that this is a film with a lot of science and there's going to be a lot of science talk. And I expect that, and I'm completely fine with that. But even in the parts that aren't necessarily about science or about the Manhattan Project, the dialogue just seems off. It's way too smart for what I feel normal people would use interacting with each other. Like certain conversations between characters just didn't seem realistic in how they talked. Almost like robots trying to act like humans communicating with one another. Maybe that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but I feel like the dialogue could have been toned down just a little bit. Is it a huge problem though?
No.
Also, I don't think the nudity in the film was really necessary. Yes, I do understand the argument that it does serve a purpose to the story, but I fully believe that the same thing you try to tell with these scenes, you could have told a different way. I mean, there's plenty of other ways you could have expanded, fleshed out, showed Oppenheimer and Jean's relationship besides that route. And I just think it shows way more than it needs to. Another thing with this film is that it doesn't really flesh out a ton of characters and relationships that Oppenheimer has. I think they develop Oppenheimer's character really well here. And I believe Robert Downey Jr.'s Strauss is the only other character they do a decently good job at this with. I wish it focused more on the characters in the movie. Like, I wish more time was spent with his scientist and like knowing the scientists that were involved in the Manhattan Project. Maybe with General Groves or with Strauss or, Now, I totally won't put it out of the realm of possibility that this was intentional, and I guess I can get behind that. I feel like it would have been to the film's benefit to focus more on its characters. I believe that it would have made the last hour of the film a lot more impactful. Oppenheimer was a joy to watch, and I am so happy that it lived up to the hype. This is the movie that we've been waiting for. And it's really refreshing to see a film not based on a pre-existing IP being released, But yeah, that's about all I have to say about Oppenheimer. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about the film. But thank you guys so much for stopping by, watching the video. I really do appreciate it. As always, I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. And until next time, peace out, bro skillets.